And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the quarterfinals of ESL Open Cup Europe number 216. We have returned and we are continuing our run of TvT. The Terran on Terran action continues, and it almost doesn't get quite better than this. Some of the best, the top three Terrans in the world. Two of them are here, and we're ready for it. We're ready to sink our teeth into it. As spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the German Terran player, the red Terran representing Team Mouse. It is HeRoMaRinE. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the blue Terran player from the land of Poland representing Team Na'Vi. It is Spirit. Now let me just quickly double check something, because I don't want to be just like misremembering things, but if I remember correctly, there was a TvT. Yes, there we go. So I do remember. Last week in ESL Open Cup Europe 217, these two players faced off in the semifinals. They faced off. We were there. We casted it, and I did not misremember. Spirit did take down HeRoMaRinE 2-0. Spirit took down HeRoMaRinE and advanced on to the grand finals, where Spirit had a hard time against MaxPax, but regardless, he was able to bring HeRoMaRinE down, which is why I referred to this earlier as a chance for HeRoMaRinE, Big Gabe, to redeem himself. 2 racks opener. Let's go. So Big Gabe, he wants his chance at revenge. Can he get it? As Spirit is popping off with a 2 racks opener. 2 racks Reaper here from Spirit back at home is going to be popping off with a higher Reaper count. Meanwhile, ooh, that is a racks expand. That is a single gas opener at a HeRoMaRinE. That is a CC on the low ground. This means delayed factory, delayed Hellions, delayed units. Spirit, he has a chance to pop off. Now, there's going to be a big power spike here with the first 2, 3, and then 4 Reapers here for Spirit, where he can pop off and he can ideally overwhelm the Reaper count of HeRoMaRinE. That's his goal. His goal right now is to catch the Reaper of HeRoMaRinE, and just like that, Spirit's going to be ahead in units, is going to snowball out of control, and he may just end the game. Or, I mean, he would probably cancel the natural. Or not even cancel the natural, but just break through into the main base. We'll see what Spirit can get done. As again, he's amassing his Reaper CC on the low ground as we speak. We do see HeRoMaRinE. He does have the high ground advantage here at the natural, but the Reaper slips into the main, gets eyes on the production, sees how late the factory is, so he knows that there's a CC on at the natural base. Spirit, he hasn't seen it himself, but he does know it's there. And he's just building up that Reaper count. Does know that there are Marines available. Also knows that there's a window. Goes in. Can he deny the factory? It's going to be close. Gets the SCV, but the factory does finish in time. Big moment there for HeRoMaRinE. Factory does complete. Cyclone is on the way, and now Spirit is on the timer. He's on a timer. And once that Cyclone does arrive, he's going to be shut down. Reaper's being forced back. And HeRoMaRinE, he's held. He has held at this point. We can see Spirit trying to find another way in, but we have plenty of Marines. We have Reapers. We may have lost a couple of workers, but Gabe should be feeling perfectly fine. Is denied mining at the natural at least. But with the arrival of the Cyclone, yeah, Spirit is going to be forced back. And no more damage can be dealt. Behind this, we have our 2-on-1 setup here with the starport now on the way. And this Reaper opener from Spirit hasn't really been worth it. We have killed a couple of SCVs, that is true, but we're behind in Cyclones. And as you know, in the current meta, Cyclones are everything in the early to mid game. That Cyclone count can be so crucial. One extra Cyclone can win you a fight and win you the game. Speaking of Reapers, they dive in. We bleed out a Reaper. Yeah, that was 1 Reaper for 2 Marines. Not the worst trade. But Marines this early don't really matter. And HeRoMaRinE goes straight for a 3rd CC. Very greedy move here from Gabe. But he's feeling confident. This tells us that he feels like he can get away with whatever he wants. He shut down the Reaper opener. 3rd CC, well underway. And Gabe, he's feeling perfectly fine. And Spirit has to try to bounce back here. Going for his own 3rd, a little bit later than that of HeRoMaRinE's. A little bit later than that of Big Gabe. Cyclones, they do threaten to drop into the main. Spirit, he has potential for some damage. The problem here is, remember, HeRoMaRinE has a Cyclone lead. He has 4 Cyclones back at home. 2 Cyclones at the natural, 2 Cyclones in the main base. Gabe, he is ready to receive any kind of drop play here from Spirit. This shouldn't get much done. As Spirit, he threatens to drop into the main. Back at home, getting into the rest of his setup, getting into tank production. And the Cyclone drop is denied. Again, Gabe, he takes no damage. Now, what I just mentioned is important. The fact that Gabe is still making Cyclones and Spirit is not. Spirit, he's rushing into tanks instead. So look at the unit count here. We have 6 Cyclones. Oh, as we dive on in. We had 6, we get 1, we get 2. Oh my god, Spirit, he gets all 3. No shot, he somehow finds damage, dives into the main base, takes down 3 Cyclones, he's going for the Raven. He gets 1. Massive pickoffs here from Spirit, somehow turning water into wine. Gets another Cyclone. He gets 6 SCVs and he delays the E-Bays. Oh my god, finally he gets cleaned up. But that was a good way to make use of those Reapers. Initially, the Reapers did 0 damage, and suddenly they pop off. Look at the trades here. Gabe, he threw... HeRoMaRinE, he threw... Spirit, he threw away 2 Cyclones and 5 Reapers. What did he get? He got 4 Cyclones, a Raven, and 6 SCVs. That was a beautiful trade by Spirit. Remember that his Reapers, they were being outscaled. They don't really scale well at all into the late game, into the mid game even. Neither do those Cyclones, as Spirit is getting into tanks. So a very good trade there. Now, Gabe still has a worker lead. He's still taking his 3rd base on location. So Gabe still has that kind of that advantage, but his lead isn't as strong as it once was. Raven harass. We do thread the needle. Take a bit of damage. Auto turret popping off here in the main base. We get 3 SCVs at the same time. 3rd base has been scouted, has been spotted, and delayed by Gabe. The Ravens, they're trying to get the hell out of here. Cyclones are on the hunt. Gabe trying to cut them off. Oh, coming in through the southern side. Trying to catch these Ravens, and it looks like he might be able to get them. Spirit, does he react in time? Oh, it's going to be close here. The Cyclones, they do reveal themselves, and Spirit, he does pull back. And he will get into the dead space. He will bypass these Cyclones and make it out safe and sound. Whew. Does avoid them. Does save the Ravens. Meanwhile, Gabe pushing through the center. As we do see Gabe pushing right through the center as well. Pushing right through the center, and so far he has been spotted. Spirit going to be repositioning. How many tanks do we have? Spirit, he's on 4 tanks, but Gabe has disabled. He has his Ravens, he can disable. We can see Spirit trying to catch reinforcements. And we do dive on top of the army. That was a brutal trade, though. Spirit bleeding out every single Marine. That was not the fight we were looking for. Gabe had a double upgrade lead with 1-1. Spirit taking a brutal fight. Throwing away his Marines. As HeRoMaRinE is going to be rotating over. We disable the Raven. Let's go. Disabling the Raven will keep HeRoMaRinE at bay. Spirit getting in position. The disable has run out. We see Gabe amassing his army. Again, he does have enough for 4 disables. He has a lot of energy on these Ravens. He can still disable most of the tanks of Spirit. Spirit knows that. He now catches up with his upgrades. He's got 1-1. 2-2 on the way for HeRoMaRinE. +1 attack on the way for Spirit. Doesn't have the gas for defense. And Gabe backs up. Doesn't like what he sees. He backs the hell off. Respecting Spirit quite a lot there. Gabe will pull back home. Getting his 4th. Meanwhile, so is Spirit. Spirit 1 step behind when it comes to his 4th base. Likewise, hopefully we don't completely forget about +2 defense, +2 armor. As it still has not been researched. Oh. We're pulling a bit of Beyond here. Beyond known for forgetting +2. +2 defense specifically. Not like this. As I do see Spirit going for a triple drop towards the right-hand side. So is Gabe. Gabe, he does barely miss the drop. Both players, they miss each other. It lives towards the south, triple drop towards the north. There is a spotter depot in position. Likewise, Spirit also has a spotter depot as well. so they can react to each other. As Gabe is the first to max. He has a supply lead. He's pushing with a massive army. Not going to be hitting with 2-2, but pushing out nonetheless. Spirit does react. Does siege. Does siege in time. Drops him moving in. Spirit going straight for the third. HeRoMaRinE stuck at the non-existent third base. We dive on top of the tank. Tank goes down. SCVs are falling. Reinforcements are on the way. Gabe pulls back home. He turns back around. 20 SCVs go down. Oh my god. And in one fell swoop, Spirit, he now finds himself ahead. 20 SCVs fall. Marines, they get the hell out of there. And Gabe, he turned everything around. Oh, that was brutal. Does have his own triple drop, but there was nothing to deny. Gabe was on 4 bases. Spirit is still on 3. Now he's expanding. Now Spirit is expanding. Has a worker lead. Can he establish this 4th base?
Ready to blunder.
Triple drop has been spotted. Spirit is aware. Rotating with his main army. Does need a sensor tower. There we go. It's on the way. Another triple drop moving out. Unscouted once again, by the way. Now, both players are maxed. Both players are maxed out. Technically, because Gabe lost so many SCVs, he's ahead in army supply. HeRoMaRinE, he is ahead in army supply. He is moving out, looking at the units tab. He's up in tanks, even in Ravens. Spirit is late to rotate. He's late to rotate over. But he has the counter disables. Disables are thrown down. At the same time, Spirit once again going straight for the third base as a tank. As one tank in position, but we stim on forward. We dive on top of the tank. At the same time, 4th base is under fire. Tanks are shelling away at each other, but Spirit, he takes down the 3rd for a 2nd time. He won't quite get the base itself. It's going to be close. Oh, he gets it. Gets the base. Planetary holds strong. The repairs are too good. But HeRoMaRinE is repositioning. And yeah, he's going to take down the 3rd base of Spirit. That's going to be a kill. We trade a 3rd for a 3rd. You can see Spirit, he's in position, he's ready to dive. He wants to dive. Do we have Ravens? Ooh, Spirit, he lost his Ravens. The Viking lead. Right, the Viking lead here for Gabe. Does mean that the Ravens of Spirit were sniped. There's only 1 Raven left in the game, and that belongs to Gabe. Tanks are repositioning. Heading towards the main. Looking to threaten the production. And we're stimming in. Ooh, this is going to be a brutal stim. If we collapse on some of these tanks that the surrounders will, we clean up every single tank. Full medevac goes down. And Gabe, he's running out of steam. A bit of a desperation move. Dropping into the main base at the same time. His main army headed towards that planetary. And can he bring it down? Spirit out of position. HeRoMaRinE is pushing in. He's been spotted. We have to make a choice. We're going for the counterattack. We're going for a base trade. The planetary is eventually going to fall. We go for the mass repair. Can we survive? I don't think we can. Actually, that planetary going ham on the Marines. Dropping to the main, popping off as all, killing workers. We scan the planetary, and Spirit has to make a choice. He's going straight for the kill. It takes a lot of tank shots to the face. Ooh, bleeding out a lot of Marines. He will break through the tank line just barely, going for the 3rd base once again. Meanwhile, the planetary was broken. And this was not the 3rd, this was the main. The main has fallen. HeRoMaRinE down to 2 bases. One of them is fully mining. Gabe coming in from behind. Ooh, big volley goes off. Oh, a lot of Marines going to be going down. Spirit, he's down an upgrade, by the way. He does not have +3 armor. Oh, the drop play coming into play here. And yeah, Spirit, he has to back off. He has to retreat. Falling back to his army. The army supplies are very close. The tank sieges. But it goes down. We get 1 tank. We almost get a 2nd as well. Hot pick up there by Gabe. Barely holds on. Floating over another 3rd. Spirit reclaiming his own. That is his main. Spirit economically is barely holding on. As the game progresses, HeRoMaRinE, he's outproducing him. We're making Marines, we're making tanks. Gabe has an economy. Spirit doesn't. Spirit, he can barely produce anything. He's running out of steam. Going for a desperation doom drop into the main base. Really good position, though. Very nice position here. He gets on top of that ramp. But his upgrades are worse. And the tank shots are brutal. Yeah, tanks from the low ground, tanks on the high ground as well. And Spirit, he's getting cleaned up. Gabe has done it. He cleans up the army. That's all that Spirit had left. Oh, as I say that, the Viking drop. The Viking drop in the face. Doesn't matter. GG gets called. And HeRoMaRinE takes game number 1. Ooh, GG. Oh my god. That was an intense game. Very back and forth. A very close game overall between these two players. It was on a knife's edge for so long. Was on a knife's edge, but in the end, Gabe came out on top. Oh, I have to make sure I don't get left behind. We do get in. Barely do slip in. Thank God. As we're getting ready for game number 2. But yeah, that was a very close game overall. HeRoMaRinE, Gabe, he had his own advantages for quite some time. Spirit, he was able to pull himself back into it, don't get me wrong, and he was able to pop off with his counterplay, with his counter harassment, but Spirit never got his 4th. He never really got his 4th base on running. He was never able to fully mine from it either, so over time, Gabe had the better economy. He was able to outproduce his opponent, and there towards the end as well, we saw that Spirit just ran out of steam. Stuck on 3 bases. Stuck on 22 SCVs. Could not keep up, and Gabe takes game 1. Let's go. Already achieving more than he did last week. Last week it was a 2-0 in favor of Spirits, but this week, Gabe, he fights back. He puts a point on the board. Can he go the distance though? We're here to find out. As spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have our German Terran player, the Red Terran representing Team Mouse. It is HeRoMaRinE. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the Polish Terran player, the blue Terran representing Na'Vi. Down in this series, can he bounce back? It is Spirit. Now, regardless of how this goes, I would love to see an ace match. I'd love to see a game 3, but not on me. It's on our players here. It is now on Spirit to force that ace match. Can he bring it back? Personally, I hope so. I want that game 3. I want that ace match, but alas, HeRoMaRinE is 1 game away from making it into the semifinals. Una más is all he needs. And does he have an opponent ready and waiting? That is the question. We're assuming that Clem is going to be waiting for him, but there's still plenty of games to be held. Still plenty more going on. So yet to be determined. As for now, standard opener. Economic opener out of Spirit, double gas opener out of HeRoMaRinE. Okay, now winding it back, if you remember, Spirit, he did open up 2 racks. He went 2 racks Reaper, which initially didn't do much damage, but Spirit redeemed himself later on. It was impressive what Spirit was able to accomplish with his 5 Reapers. But this time, going for the racks, the single racks opener into the CC on the low ground. Gabe going for a faster factory. So HeRoMaRinE is going to be the more aggressive player early on, Spirit being much more economic. We'll see if he can get away with that economy. Kind of comes down to how HeRoMaRinE opens. Does he go Reaper Hellion? Does he go for a fast Cyclone drop? Do we go Reaper Hellion? Do we go for fast Cyclones? It's typically the 2 that we do bounce between. Yeah, as HeRoMaRinE will be expanding here on the low ground. Later expansion than that of his opponent. We can see the Reaper Marine amassing here. And HeRoMaRinE, he opts not to go for Hellions. He doesn't go for the reactor. He's going for faster Cyclone production. And this should be leading into a Cyclone drop. There it is. There's that follow-up starport. We have 1 Cyclone followed by a second, followed by the medevac, then into reactored Cyclones. So a bit of a more aggressive build here from HeRoMaRinE. Getting into his Cyclone drop. Ooh, I assumed was the case, but we have a Hellion as a follow-up. Oh no, that's a Spirit. We get an SCV on the low ground. There's that second Cyclone. We get 1 SCV. Not a bad start for HeRoMaRinE. Behind this, Spirit trying to get into his own Marine play, to his own Cyclone. Now, based on this opener, it looks like Spirit is going to go for... is he going to go for an add-on swap? He may just go for an add-on swap after this for a Cyclone. HeRoMaRinE moving out. There's that medevac that we spoke about for the eventual drop play. And there's the add-on swap into Reactored Cyclones. Now, Spirit has a choice. He can either go for Reactored Cyclones as well or go for the Tech Lab. But I imagine it's going to be Reactored Cyclones here. No, never mind. Okay. Interesting. We're keeping the reactor on the racks. HeRoMaRinE moving out. They're getting ready for the Cyclone drop into the natural. Meanwhile, Spirit, he does have quite an army that he's built up. Is in position. Yeah, zones away the medevac. Ooh, gets quite a lot of... oh my god, gets quite a lot of damage on it. Ay, ay, ay. HeRoMaRinE gonna try and punish this depot, and it looks like he might be able to get it as he edges on ever closer. Spirit does shoot first, takes down that Reaper. Depot does barely survive. And behind this, there it is, there's the Tech Lab. So yep, it is going to be fast Tech Lab here from Spirit. He's going into fast tanks. So fast tank production from our blue Terran player, continued Cyclone production for HeRoMaRinE, as now we go for the add-on swap. How many Cyclones we have? 6. So stopping at 6, we have recognized the build of Spirit. We realize that we don't need additional Cyclones. We're getting into our Raxes and we're working towards eventually tank play. Or tank production. Third CC is on the way for Gabe. Likewise, it's also on the way for Spirit. Pretty similarly timed third bases. And we'll see if HeRoMaRinE is a little bit more successful with his second Cyclone drop as he is moving out. Going to be threatening that main base. Spirit not quite in position, doesn't have anything to spot either. So his main is looking a little bit vulnerable. We have potential. Scans does get eyes on the CC, on the command center. So big scout there for Spirit. The Raven! No shot, the Raven's gonna go down. Massive pick off. Gabe getting a fresh, full energy Raven. Oof. And with that, Spirit, he will take a Raven deficit. Is actually pushing out. So at the same time, Cyclone drop coming back in. Spirit, he does stick around. Drop gonna be threatening the main. Spirit going to be collapsing on it. Forces the pickup, gets into the main base. SCVs are going down, and Spirit is pushing. He rushed into Libs. Not again! There's another Raven! Oh, it survives this time, thankfully. Does survive. Drop is going to be forced back, but we do boost away. We do manage to escape. Once again, Spirit just leading the charge with his Sky units. He gets punished so hard. The Libs take a lot of hits. The Raven as well. Gabe is in position, and Spirit, he may have just split out too much. It may just be too much at this point. Yeah, we collapse on the Liberators. The tanks have been disabled, and HeRoMaRinE, Gabe, he's going to shut this down. Cleans up every single tank. Very clean defense here from our Red Terran player. Takes down the final tank. Oh, and there's just not much left here for Spirit. He was so committed with that. How much did we lose? 2 Libs, a Raven, or 2 Ravens in total. 3 tanks, 3 Cyclones, Vikings as well. And you can see Spirit plummet in supply. Now, economically, both players are similar. Both players are even. They're even in the economy. But the army tells another story. 2 tanks versus 2 tanks. We have 17 Marines against the 3 Marines of Spirit. Spirit is stuck at home. He's throwing down the sensor tower. He knows it. He knows he's stuck at home. There's no moving out. It's not going to happen. Gabe at the same time is going to be pushing. We have a Marine push on the right. We have a double drop on the left. There are Vikings though in position. So good positioning by Spirit. Does force back the drop. Does force it back. Likewise, 4th base is on the way. HeRoMaRinE just getting further and further ahead. Just content capitalizing on his lead. And now it's going to be leading into a Doom Drop. Scan reveals the tanks, reveals where the Vikings are as well. There is a spotter depot and the sensor tower as well, so it's going to be difficult to slip by. Not impossible. Yeah, it looks like we're going to shut down this depot at least. Yeah, we keep most of the Marines hidden. Depot will fall. Dragging away some of the attention of Spirit. Behind this, still just getting into the rest of our Rax production. HeRoMaRinE sharking around. Getting some damage on those Vikings. And again, Spirit, he's just stuck here on these 3 bases. Game should be free to expand, and there it is. He takes a 4th. He has map control. He has the freedom to expand freely. To expand however he wants. Oh, Gabe, once again, his upgrades are lopsided. +2 armor just now finishing up. Hopefully this time we don't forget +2 armor. That was a pretty big part of the last game. Remember, at the end of last game, game 1, HeRoMaRinE at 3-3 and Spirit was just stuck on 2-1. Sorry, 3-2. Stuck on 3-2. His Marines were just trading worse. And Spirit, he's forgetting +2 again. No, we're forgetting +2. Once again. This is 2 games in a row, by the way. This is becoming a problem. Björn, is that you? We spoke about this issue that Björn had or Björn has. We've been watching too much Björn, papi. As we are going to be fanning out our Marines. Trying to get a read on any kind of move outs. Spirit getting a couple of free Marine kills here, catching up in supply, getting his own 4th. Now looking at the armies themselves, we have an even tank counts. We do have Spirit with a Viking lead. We have Spirit with a Marine lead as well. What does HeRoMaRinE have? Ravens. And that's quite a bit as he goes for a Doom Drop into the pocket base or into the natural. Full medevac goes down. Oh, was this worth it for Gabe? Bleeds out everything here. He gets 1 tank. Hot pickup by Spirit. Does save the rest of his tanks, and this was not worth it for HeRoMaRinE. You can see him plummet in supply. That was 4 full medevacs. A brutal trade. You can see here, 31 Marines just went down. For what? For 17 Marines and 1 tank? 17 Marines, 1 tank, 1 live. Again, that was just not worthwhile. Spirit just waiting to absorb HeRoMaRinE's army, and so far has been doing well. Now we have 3-3 on the way for Gabe. Spirit just now starts +2. Oh, so again, his upgrades are going to be a little bit lopsided again. Yeah, 3-2 on the way. The Spirit did take a supply lead there. He can move out. Taking his own 5th. Likewise, so is Gabe. Taking his 5th here towards the south. And we have a game. You know, the advantages and disadvantages that we had in the mid-game have now kind of dissipated. Outside of the upgrades, of course. The upgrades, they can still be impactful. Both armies are maxed. I still want to give the edge to HeRoMaRinE because of his Ravens. He still has those 2 Ravens with the main army, and they can add so much utility. As HeRoMaRinE drops into that natural. This time with tanks, though. Showing Gabe how it's done. Can he deny the upgrades? That'll be huge. But the disables the power of the Raven at the same time. Here comes the main army. Spirit pushing right through the center. Trying to get on top of those tanks, and he will do it. He gets what he gets 2. He gets 3 tanks and a 4th tank as well. So HeRoMaRinE out of position completely. Where are the Marines? The tanks, they survived. 3rd base is under threat. That is a lot of supply in Vikings, I just realized. After losing the Doom Drop, he massed Vikings. HeRoMaRinE, he made a bunch of Vikings, and we needed some Marines. Without them, there's no support. No support for the tanks. Spirit popping off. It takes down the Marines. Vikings, they can land. They're going to have to. Yeah, they land here on the tanks. And the Vikings, they can clean this up. Ooh, just barely. Not the cleanest trade there from Gabe. But it cleans up the tanks. Will lose his 5th. Loses 28 SCVs. E-Ways did survive. Upgrades are finishing. I need to take stock here. Okay, we're getting back into Marine production. Kind of. Gabe down to 10 Marines against 30. Gabe is still making mass Viking. He's still amassing Vikings. He's crazy. He's going tank Viking lib, which is a late game composition, but as we can see, has its vulnerabilities. But so far, he's making it work. The Liberators, they lead the charge. The freedom is here. Yeah, we take down the tanks. We liberate the tanks. Liberator range on the way. Yeah, Gabe is just going pure mech, essentially. Like tank, lib, Viking. The ideal late game. As we saw, it is quite vulnerable in the transition before we max out. Spirit sticking with a biotank army. So Spirit is more mobile. Spirit, he has a more mobile army. You can try to outposition HeRoMaRinE. Speaking of, double drop coming in. Don't have much to defend. We can head into that natural once again. At the same time, the main army rotating over towards the would-be 5th. It's now morphing into a planetary. Scan reveals the main army. Spirit trying to keep the attention of HeRoMaRinE here towards the south as the drop is coming in. The drop is going right for that natural. And again, it's looking quite exposed. Only Vikings to defend. Yeah, the Marines are popping off. They shut down the Vikings as well. A lot of losses there for HeRoMaRinE. 12 SCVs. The Marines are being cleaned up. And again, even though the Marines go down, this was a very efficient trade. We lose 2 medevacs of Marines, which is mineral-based units, against 12 SCVs, Vikings. Just a good trade overall for Spirit. HeRoMaRinE has had enough. He's pushing out. 18 Vikings, 15 tanks. Again, mainly live Viking tank. Oh, Spirit gets caught out. Again, you can see that Spirit is trying to make use of how much more mobile his army is. He's trying to pull HeRoMaRinE apart, but so far, Gabe, he's holding his own. Holding his own, gets a medevac. Again, we've been bleeding out a lot of medevacs from the side of Spirit. Speaking of, Doom drop into that planetary, or we could go straight for the 3rd. Where we drop it. Where are we headed? We're going straight for the 3rd base. At the same time, the main army pushing right through the center. HeRoMaRinE out of position. And this is what we spoke about. Spirit, he has a much more mobile army. He's going for the kill, going for the natural. Tanks are late to siege. The tanks, there's 2 of them left. There's 1, there's 0. The tanks go down, and boys are being pulled into their deaths. And Spirit, he may have done it. Gabe, he's racing back home. But what is he racing back to? The Liberators are being shut down. Yeah, we get on top of the 3rd base. We kill the 3rd. We're killing the natural. But here come the Vikings. They're waddling in. The mass Viking. We're waddling in. We're going to force the big up. We get the hell out of there. Spirit, he will evacuate, but Spirit, he has a massive worker lead. 79, 80 workers basically against 42 of Gabe. But Gabe does have a large army. The problem here is that most of this army is Vikings. Most of the army of Gabe is in Viking. Spirit, he's coming back in. He's not done. There's a tank on the high ground. It's going to be focused down. Gabe, he thought about coming back home, but he knows he can't. He knows that he has to commit. He has to push in. We catch a couple of reinforcements. CC goes down. Gabe pushing towards the 3rd. He does siege. That's a lot of tanks. Spirit, he dives on in. He pulls the boys. Yeah, the full surround tanks are going down. Vikings as well. And Spirit, he cleans up the army with a 360 surround. Loses 24 SCVs, but he still has a worker lead. That's how far ahead Spirit was. And now he's consolidating his army, and Gabe, what does he have left? He's down to a handful of tanks, a handful of Liberators. 0 Vikings. Again, being punished for his army composition. And we're going for the planetary. It's going to be focused down. There is 1 Lib to defend. We're going for the orbital. It's going to burn as well. There's no saving it. There's no saving that orbital. Gabe is down to 4 bases. Barely saturation. Barely mining. Spirit he has maxed. And there's nothing holding him back. Nothing holding him back here as he's going to be stutter stepping forward. Catches more tanks. Sieges up as well. Yeah, within range of the planetary. Now, Gabe's tank count is quite formidable. And he does have libs. He's holding the freedom. But the Marines don't care about your freedom. They just stim and they just win. They take down the planetary. Gabe down to 3 bases. GG gets called and Spirit ties up the series 1-1. We're going to the ace match. GG. GG, well played. Spirit popping off there again, making use of his mass Marine army, or more heavy Marine army. Able to outmaneuver, outposition, and pull Gabe apart. Again, tank Viking Lib is a strong composition, don't get me wrong. It did feel like the overall balance of the units was a little bit off. Maybe, again, too many Vikings, not enough support for the tanks. You could see how vulnerable those tanks were. Bleeding out so many of them. Bleeding out oh so many, and yeah, with that we saw Spirit just pull them apart. The drop play popped up. GG. GG, well played. Very good play. Very nice play out of Spirit. And now we find ourselves in game 3. And this could go either way. You know, at the end of the day, these 2 players are very evenly matched. They are, you know, top 3 Terrans in EU. At times, I would say that Spirit is the stronger player. At other times, HeRoMaRiNE's the stronger player. I do think that how you can place them as number 3 and number 2 in the EU does depend on the day. Does depend on the tournament. Does depend on the current form of the players, as they both kind of vie for that number 2 spot. And they do kind of trade out with that spot quite often. So this is anyone's game. Last week, Spirit 2-0'd HeRoMaRiNE. This week, we have a tied series. And again, Gabe, he is so close to getting his revenge. Or will we have a repeat? And will Spirit come out on top again 2 weeks in a row? Let's find out. Let's go. We're getting into it. Game number 3. Ace match, Bappy. Let's go. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Hecate, we have the German Terran player. The Red Terran representing Team Mouse, being forced into the ace match. Can we bounce back? I want to believe we can. It is HeRoMaRiNE. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Polish Terran player, the Blue Terran representing Team Na'Vi. Bouncing back, forcing the ace match. Can he go the distance? It is Spirit. Here we go. Sorry, it's just closing the window. Just closing the window as we settle into the ace match here. It's going to be a double gas opener out of HeRoMaRiNE, so Gabe is going for a faster factory. Going to be going for a faster factory, more aggressive opener. Meanwhile, Spirit is going for a racked expand. A single gas opener is going to lead into a CC on the low ground. Is going to lead into a more economic build from Spirit. I see in the chat, how big is Big Gabe? Oh, you would not believe. You don't get much bigger than Big Gabe. Oh boy. Here we go. As there's that CC on the low ground from Spirits. Meanwhile, Gabe going for that factory here in the main. We've spoken about the openers that Gabe could be going for. It could be Reaper Hellion. It could be Reaper into Cyclone, into Reactored Cyclones. Those are the two traditional kind of builds that we should be seeing, or openers that we should be seeing here. Okay, it's going to be Reaper into Reactor. It looks like this should be Reactored Reapers from HeRoMaRinE with Hellions to support. I'm assuming. So Reaper Hellion on the horizon. Meanwhile, Spirit back at home, getting into his own factory. A little bit later than his opponent. How big isn't he? That's the better question. Send you in the chat. He knows, Bobby. He knows. Oh, we're going for the add-on swap. Okay, I was uncertain, but we are going for the add-on swap, which means we are going to be reactoring out those Cyclones. Very fast here by Gabe. The Cyclones, they're coming, Bobby. They're coming. So really fast Cyclone count from our Red Terran player. Meanwhile, Spirit across the map getting into his own Cyclones as well. A little bit later, of course, than his opponent because of the faster economy. Does already have his base up and running. Gabe's is still in production. So we'll see if Gabe can bounce back and deal some economic damage. As he will soon be active on the map. Will soon be active. Meanwhile, back at home, getting to our own add-on swap here. Let's go, because we're going for the add-on swap. We are going to be reactoring out Cyclones. Let's go. The Cyclone Wars are here. There it is. 2 Cyclones at a time from Spirit, 2 Cyclones at a time from HeRoMaRinE. For the most part, we have avoided Cyclone versus Cyclone in this series. But we may be embracing it here in the Ace match. We may be locked in Cyclone production. It's possible. Now, HeRoMaRinE, because of his double gas opener, has a lead. He has a lead in Cyclones, but with Spirit's defensive advantage, he's building up and he's going to have faster reinforcements. So he does have 3 Cyclones to the 4 of HeRoMaRinE. Of course, Spirit can pull the boys, and he's going to have to. As the army has arrived, SCV is going to be going down already. Boys are being pulled. And it looks like Gabe, he's going to be forced back. Ooh. He's going to be forced back for now. Gabe doesn't lose any of his Cyclones. Oh, going to get an SCV. 5 SCVs, or 6 SCVs already. And just like that, despite the fact that Spirit went for a more economic opener, Gabe is ahead in workers. He's ahead in SCVs. But with the defender's advantage, Spirit, he does have a Cyclone lead. I spoke too soon. You have 6 versus 5. Raven ready to come in from behind. Come in for a flank if HeRoMaRinE ever does commit. We're pushing in. Order Star gets thrown. The Raven, oh, does survive. Yeah, HeRoMaRinE, his army has been broken. We clean up the Cyclones, most of them, but the damage was done. Again, the goal of this Cyclone push was to kill SCVs, and boy, did we kill them. That was 8 worker kills in total. And just like that, Gabe now has that economic advantage. Now, behind this, we're still pumping out Cyclones. So is Spirit, working towards a 3rd base. 3rd CCs are on the way. The Cyclone Wars continue. They do continue. How many Cyclones do we have? We have 6 versus 7. 6 versus 7 for now. And we should soon be working on our final wave of Cyclones and then start working towards Biotank. But you can see that our Raxes are getting up and running. We have a Tech Lab free here for HeRoMaRinE. So it looks like we have one final production wave and then we go for tank production instead. Likewise, yeah, Spirit is set up for it as well. Set up for the add-on swap. There it is. We're getting on top of the Tech Lab for tanks. Likewise, Spirit should be getting into the Tech Lab hereafter as well. There it is. Okay, we're done producing Cyclones. Looking at the units tab, we have 10 from Spirit. We have 9 from HeRoMaRinE. So Spirit has a slight Cyclone lead. We have an even amount of Ravens. Spirit is pushing. And with that one Cyclone advantage, is that enough for Spirit to break the natural? It's going to be close. It is going to be close. As Spirit, he is going to be spotted. Good movement there from HeRoMaRinE with the Marine. Does spot the Cyclones. Rotates around. Another spotted Marine is going to spot the army as well. Gabe is responding. But how good are the auto turrets? How fast are they going to be? We're committed. Auto turrets are being thrown down. A disable on the tank as well. But Spirit, he bleeds out too much. The auto turret's a little bit better from Gabe. Yeah, we're down to 3 Cyclones. We lose every single Raven. And Spirit gets cleaned up. Likewise, though, Gabe also lost his Ravens. So both players traded out their Ravens. 3 SCVs went down. Spirit was hoping for a better trade. But we're done with the Cyclones. With that, Gabe maintains his worker lead. He only lost 3. Tanks are getting underway. And now, you know, we're past the era of the Cyclone v Cyclone, and now we're entering the dynasty of Marine Tank versus Marine Tank. Let's go. Okay. We go from one phase to the other. Now, as we're entering the mid-game, that's what this is. As we enter the mid-game here, Gabe, he does have the site worker lead, so he has a better economy. 4th base is in production as we speak for Gabe. Spirit does not have a 4th of his own yet. No 4th base in sight. We'll keep an eye out for that as we're building up our upgrades, fanning out our units. Gabe moving out with a Cyclone drop. I mean, he has spare Cyclone, so he's going for a Cyclone drop. Making use of those early game units. Like, in these Cyclones, if they die, it doesn't matter. Like, the Cyclones, they've kind of already proven their worth. They don't really scale too well here as the game progresses, so any worker kills is a bonus. Gabe, he does threaten a dive. As Gabe is gonna pull back. The game is gonna settle from here. 2-2 is on the way. For the first time this series! For the first time this series, we have not forgotten +2. Let's go. Spirit, he doesn't forget +2 armor. It's on the way. Is that a good sign or a bad sign? Because he did win the last game despite having wonky upgrades. Despite forgetting +2. We shall see. Hello, Marine. What are we... No! The Marine, he was just standing still. Hoping that the Terran army won't be able to notice him if he doesn't move. They did notice. We do see a Doom drop headed towards the main base of Gabe, but Gabe is going to hit first. He's pushing. Is moving out. And Spirit, he does notice. Tank volley is going to be going up. Gabe is going to be kept at bay, but he's going for a Doom drop into the main. We have a handful of reinforcements. We are in position in time. Spirit, he defends his main base, and he's going for his own Doom drop. He gets in. A massive Doom drop into the main base. And what is in position to defend? We have 1 tank. We have a handful of Marines. 2nd tank is on the way. And Gabe, he's coming back home. He turns back around. His production under fire. Tank shot's going to be going off. Marines, they're trying to hold on here for Gabe. But another tank falls. And Spirit, he's just snowballing out of control here. His main army's pushing out across the map as well. Gabe is still racing back home. And this Doom drop has still not been cleaned up. We almost get another tank. Rax is going to be going down. And now this 4th base is exposed. We're going for it. HeRoMaRinE out of position. He's dealing with the drop. We'll finally clean it up. But as HeRoMaRinE cleans up the drop in his main base, we're pushing in towards the 4th. Liberator goes down. Tanks are in position. 3rd and 4th tank to arrive. We catch the Marines. Big catch there from Spirits. 2-2 finishing up. And these tank shots are going off. Spirit, he still has Marines left in the corner of the map. Can still come in for another drop. For now, still denying any mining here at the 4th. We have another army moving out towards the 3rd base of HeRoMaRinE. Yeah, we deny any kind of mining. The base is gonna fall. The freedom is here. We cannot repair. The planetary goes down. And there's that drop into the natural. The main push here towards the third base. Gabe is in position. He will defend. Or he will shut this down. As Spirit is getting a little bit greedy here. He wants more damage. He's already ahead. He's up in workers. He's up in bases. But Spirit, he wants to go for the kill. But is he overextending? You can see Gabe. He's setting him first around. Has an army in the center. Oh, it looks like he's going for a counterattack. Never mind. He's going for a counterattack. Medevac's getting the hell out of there. But we have plenty of reinforcements. Spirit, he hasn't been rallying across the map. This is a planetary. Yeah, we cannot touch it. The planetary stands strong for Spirit. We dive on top of the tanks. 3 tanks go down. 4 tanks go down. We trade tank for tank, but Spirit, he can afford these losses. Gabe cannot. Gabe cannot, as he's trying to catch the drop, trying to catch the army, but we drop back into the main. Gabe is in position. We'll force it back. Now, if we look at the army sizes, they're quite similar. There's Spirit, he's up in workers. He's up 20 SCVs compared to Gabe. So as the game goes on longer, Spirit will max out first. But the sizes of the armies, again, are quite comparable here. Gabe can win a fight, as the armies are missing each other. Gabe, he's going for the 4th. At the same time, Spirit, he's going for the 3rd. Yeah, collapses on the orbital. Tank goes down. Boys are being pulled. SCVs are being annihilated. Oh my god. Massive tank shots going off. At the same time, Gabe going for a Doom drop into the main base, but we are in position. Or are we? Tanks are going down. Gabe, he's gaining ground. He was. But he's being forced back. He's being forced out of the main base. The Doom drop nowhere near as successful. Spirit kills the 3rd. Gabe gets forced out of the main. Another tank falls. And Spirit, he's snowballing out of control. 2 weeks in a row. GG gets called. And Spirit will take the series 2-1. Advancing on to the semifinals. GG. GG, well played. 2 weeks in a row. Last week, Spirit took down Gabe 2-0. And this week, he takes him down 2-1. Again, that was a much closer series, though. Gabe was able to have his own moments, was able to pop off, was able to force the ace match. But here, in the ace match, was caught with his pants down, was caught out of position one too many times. The Doom drop was insane, and Spirit will make it to the semifinals. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations to Spirit as he advances on. My condolences to HeRoMaRinE. Again, he's still an amazing player, and losing to Spirit is there's no shame in that, as Spirit and HeRoMaRinE, they're pretty close in skill. They're pretty comparable to each other. They're some of the best Terrans in all of Europe. It's Spirit, HeRoMaRinE, and Clem. They are the top 3 in Europe, and they do go back and forth. And it did at least go to the ace match as well. So Gabe will bow out of the tournament. And Spirit will advance on, and we're here to find out who he faces off against. !B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the back of yourselves.